All right, today we're talking about one of the greatest corporate comebacks of all time. This is the story of Microsoft, a tech titan that, once seemed completely untouchable, then lost its way, and somehow clawed its way back to the very top. And that's really the big question here, isn't it? It's this classic comeback tale about a company that went from invincible to underdog and then had to completely redefine its own existence. So, how on earth did they do it? Let's dive in right from the beginning. You see, to really get the comeback story, you've got to understand just how dominant Microsoft was. We have to go back to the age when they were the absolute, undisputed kings of the tech world. For decades, when you said high tech, you pretty much meant one thing: the personal computer. Sure, Intel made the chips, and companies like Dell and HP built the boxes, but it was Microsoft that truly ruled the kingdom. They made the software that made it all work. And all that power made them unbelievably huge. Just think about that for a second. At the dawn of the new millennium, no company on Earth was bigger, more profitable, or more relevant. They'd achieved their goal: a computer on almost every desk in almost every home. But then, the world started to change. And the solid ground that Microsoft's empire was built on, well, it started to shift in a way that threatened everything. And that revolution? It was mobile. Suddenly, the center of the tech universe wasn't that PC on your desk anymore. It was the smartphone in your pocket. And the thing about those new devices, they didn't need Microsoft Windows at all. And this really lays out the problem perfectly. Microsoft was the undisputed king of the PC world, a world of stationary, standalone machines. But in this new digital world of connected, mobile devices, they were suddenly way behind competitors like Google and Apple, who were literally building the future. So, what do you do when you're the king and the world just stops caring about your kingdom? Well, you scramble. And that's exactly what Microsoft did. They began this frantic, desperate race to try and catch up to the new leaders. They just started throwing everything at the wall to see what would stick. They built a mobile version of Windows, they launched a cloud version of Office, they bought Skype, they even got into hardware with the Surface tablets and that massive, massive acquisition of Nokia's phone business. They were trying to fight on every single front. But it just wasn't working. And this chart, wow, it shows just how badly they were losing the most important battle. Look at that tiny sliver for Windows Mobile. Despite all that money and effort, they captured almost none of the market. They were chasing, not leading. And this was just not sustainable. Okay, so this right here, this is the turning point of the entire story. Microsoft realized that just making new stuff wasn't enough. They couldn't just change what they made. They had to fundamentally change who they were. It was time for a great pivot. And you can actually see their thinking evolve right here on this timeline. I mean, they started with a mission that was all about their main product, a computer on every desk. Super simple, super powerful, but totally locked to a product. By 2013, they tried to adapt, broadening it to a family of devices and services. It was a step, but it was still about their stuff. And then came 2015, and everything changed. This became their new North Star. And what's so powerful about it is what's not in it. There's no mention of Windows, no mention of devices, no mention of software. It's about outcomes. It's about what people can do with technology, not which technology they use. And this slide just captures the new strategy perfectly. Think of it like this. The old Microsoft wanted to protect Windows at all costs. Their goal was to get you inside Microsoft's house and lock the door. The new Microsoft, they don't care what house you're in. They just want to give you Microsoft's tools to use inside any house, whether it was built by Apple or Google. A total game changer. So, did this radical new strategy actually work? Oh, you bet it did. This huge pivot led them to a new kingdom, where they could not only compete but reign supreme once again: the cloud. Suddenly, the new ecosystem was all about services that worked everywhere. You want to use Office 365 on an iPhone? No problem. OneDrive on an Android tablet? Of course. They even started partnering up with old rivals like Amazon. This was a completely different Microsoft. And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. In just 1 year, their commercial cloud services brought in a staggering $27 billion in revenue. The pivot wasn't just working, it was paying off, big time. And you can see here, the cloud wasn't just some side project. It quickly became a massive, vital part of the company, making up nearly a quarter of all their revenue. Microsoft was now, first and foremost, a cloud company. So, after pulling off this incredible transformation, what does the future hold? Is that it? Is the story over? Not even close.
Their own CEO put it best. The big lesson they learned wasn't just how to change, but that they have to keep changing. Always. In the crazy fast world of tech, transformation isn't a one-time event. It has to be constant.
Which kind of leaves us with this one big final thought. Microsoft's story proves that even the biggest giants can fall, but it also shows that they can rise again, but only if they're willing to completely abandon their old identity. It really makes you wonder, in a world that never, ever stops changing, is any company's dominance or any industry's status quo ever truly safe?